Coming up in this week's episode.
So yeah, that was quite good. I think they should do it again. I think they should get the royals back in fancy dress.
We have Prince Andrew. What's Prince Andrew going to be doing there?
Prince Andrew could be in a gimp suit, and you could get Prince Edward could be in his military uniform after earning all those medals for those 7 weeks he was in the Marines.
Yes,
Remember that?
yes.
So he's got all those medals from those wars. In the
we could have Prince Harry on the other side as well. Couldn't we?
Yeah.
Playing the baddie as the Germans, doing that as well.
No, you're allowed to do that now. You're allowed to do that now because your heart is a Roman.
It's a Roman, isn't it? Just doing a Roman.
The leader does it now, so we're allowed to do that.
It's time to adjust those shoulder pads, backcomb what's left of your hair, and jump into the DeLorean for a look back at what's possibly the best decade anyone could ever have grown up in.
Shall we play a game?
This is Bring Back the 80s with your hosts James Alderson and me, Andy Jackson.
Welcome to number 7,
probably
something like that, isn't
Lucky
it?
number
I think
7.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, let's say that.
And we do. Let's just any
go
your
with it.
guess is as
Nobody
good as mine.
cares.
Is it 5, 6? Yeah, number 7, James.
5,
Number
6,
7. It's
8.
flying by, isn't it?
Yeah.
Flying by.
Yeah.
We are straight into game shows off the telly now.
Yeah. Well, another thing. I mean, the last 2 episodes we did were cartoons, and we just realised that there were so many iconic game shows, original sometimes British game shows, but some that came over from America, I think. But we've never talked about it properly. We talked about the dollies doing their dealing because obviously that was a subject close to my heart.
Obviously,
but we never really talked about anything in depth, and there were so many of them. And
I was going to say the game shows, quiz shows, all that kind of thing, but basically taking members of the public. That most might go past. Taking members of the public, people like us, off the street,
normal people,
and taking them into the glamorous world of showbiz and TV.
And there were some characters that were dragged off the street onto those shows.
Oh my God, there were some characters.
Price is Right is one of those where was it Leslie Crowther?
Yes.
Who, when they came down from the audience, you could see him thinking, oh my God, this is going to be interesting. Some ladies bouncing down, literally, in every way, down those stairs, up to the plinth, and say their name when they're out of breath. I'm not sure you could get away with that now. I'm not sure you could roll the dice and risk anyone just coming out of the audience and standing.
Well, do you remember that clip that resurfaced of Bullseye?
Oh,
with
how much do you owe him? Is that the one?
That's the one.
It was about a weight. She was doing a sponsored weight loss, and he said, "How much do you owe him?" And I was just like,
but that was proper actual. That was actual harsh, wasn't it? That was
cruel.
That was cruel.
Yeah. And I don't know how. I mean, he said he was very cutting sometimes. What's his name?
The northern bloke, whatever. Yeah.
I want to say Roy, but it's
Ted,
not.
Not Ted Rogers. No,
that's 3, 2, 1.
It'll come, James. It's pointless asking old people anything about names. We could see them.
Awful.
We could see them.
Oh, he was an absolute legend. But we'll think about it for the next episode. But yes, there was lots of game shows where stuff was said and done, and you just think, oh my God, because some of the contestants were literally picked at random. You just had you couldn't be certain what they were going to be like.
Well, because now, obviously, if you're going to go on something like Blind Date or something, you have to audition to go on the. You have to go on, don't you? You have to audition.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure. Is Blind Date even around? Love Island's probably the equivalent, isn't
I guess
it?
so, yeah.
And those are literally intense auditions over weeks to get the right people. And I think you're right. I think for any other things, they have to do some sort of sanity check on them, because you can't get any old Jeff or Deirdre up there doing all sorts and being a real handful for a day's worth of filming, because the studio is so bloody expensive. They rarely have audiences in now, have you noticed, in these game shows? A lot of it's sort of synthesised. You see, like Tipping Point, for example. Nobody there. They just make a little bit of noise, don't they, and stuff. But it's like harking back from COVID times, they don't have many people in the crowd anymore.
Have you noticed that we never see any of those things that they tried to carry on making during COVID times? Like, you never see any shows from those days of people sitting miles apart from each other and wearing, cut to the audience and the audience are in masks. It's like we don't want to know about those times.
Please,
and it just would not you would instantly switch over to watch something else now, wouldn't you?
Well, they carried on doing the Raw Variety performance, and Joe Caulfield, a friend of mine, very very famous comedian from being on telly every show really over the last 20 years. She did the Raw Variety performance when the audience, they panned round, it was all just screens. There was about 100 screens of faces and couples responding. I was like, oh God, soul destroying when you're at the London Palladium or wherever it might be, and you rock up and the audience are replaced by
TV
screens.
people, yeah.
It's a load of Max Headrooms facing back at you. It's just not.
It just never works, did it? And it was just something weird about having because you can build a whole TV show around people watching TV.
Yeah,
you can build Gogglebox on. Of
course you can.
And Gogglebox, bloody fantastic idea.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing. It's people at home, but you put those people on a screen and an audience, and it just does not work at all.
Not at all. And so live is where it's at, and I think that. You never knew what was going to happen on some of these game shows, like you say.
And maybe that was half the fun that we used to like to watch it, because there's nothing like with the hosts being as good as they were. And they were all, when you were on telly then, you were on telly because you were at the very top of your game.
Without
4 channels to go.
Yep.
There was more talent.
Yeah.
Than
I mean, you got people like. Leslie Crowther, even people like Des O'Connor, Bob Monkhouse, they were talented, Bruce Forsyth, talented stars, comedians, entertainers, variety, dancers, singers. They had everything, and Larry Grayson, they had everything it took to be an entertainer, no matter what was happening, and especially when you saw Larry Grayson and Generation Game and stuff with the chaos that would ensue there. He had it under control. Really,
yes. It
didn't look like it was, but it was all crafted perfectly to make it as it was. Great fun, and so funny. So that's why a lot of comedians now are hosting these shows. They're not entertainers as such; they could be funny, but they got to laugh their way out of a situation in the game show. Couldn't dance out of one. They couldn't sing out of one.
Who was that dancer who used to be on everything though? The one guy that was on everything. And again, for God's sake, please.
The little ballerina type guy.
That's the one, yes.
Him.
He was on everything.
Everybody knows. Everyone knows. We don't have to remember the names, Andy. We've done our job.
Was it being with Leslie, somebody?
No. You're thinking of Leo Sayer. He was a little singer, but not a little dancer.
It's going to come to me at 2:00 this morning.
Look, after this episode finishes,
subtitle come
we're
up here.
looking up the host of Bullseye, and we're looking up Little Ballerina
Jim
Boy.
Owen.
Who?
Was it Jim Owen?
Bowen. Jim Bowen. We don't need to look that up. What we do need to look up Little Ballerina Boy, which I think was a song in the 80s. No, it wasn't. But it's come on, who was he? Because he was in the King's Panto in about 15, 20 years ago.
Let's do the mystery sound.
Yes.
Right, and then while the mystery sound's on, maybe it'll just pop into our heads.
Yes.
Who knows?
It might not.
Cousin Jean-Louis has all of Paris tattooed on his body. I'm glad I'm not young. Do you do your bit of French there?
Obviously not the mystery sound, but one day, James.
It's always a mystery.
It's always a mystery to know what's coming up. Yeah. But you see Barry Cryer in the background of that as well, who was Kenny Everett's writing partner.
Yeah.
And just waiting for Kenny to do something mental. Yeah, something properly mental.
And that was totally unnecessary, the long aerial microphone. But it was the prop for Terry, wasn't it?
But didn't that come from the American version of the show where they had the microphone on the... I think the show was American and then brought over and turned, and then I think that was their gimmick on there.
It's just such a wonderful show. So Les Dawson carried it on after Terry, and he was brilliant as well. But Terry had something just magical there, such a connection, and such a warmth. Les Dawson carried it on, and then I think it was the drag, Lily Savage.
Yeah.
And then and now obviously we've got. Why are we testing these names? Bradley Walsh.
Yes.
And he's got that same sort of warmth that Terry and Les had.
Yes.
He's got the humour and the comedic background, but Terry Wogan.
The thing is, that, like you say, maybe Terry Wogan was the one that perhaps bucked the trend because he was not a comedian.
No,
he was. He was on Radio 2 doing the breakfast show for forever.
Oh yeah,
and he was again absolutely brilliant at that. But he was obviously a funny person as well.
Sarcasm was his speciality, which is all that's needed in life, I find, to get through to wind people up perfectly.
And is it a shame that they said that Terry Wogan was not really suitable for the Eurovision Song Contest? And then when we started getting wokey, because that was the only reason why most of this country was watching, was just to hear Terry Wogan take the piss out of every other country in the world.
And Graham Norton took over and was serious for about 3 years, and now he's just like Terry Wogan, being sarcastic and taking the piss. And so you just think, whoa, what was the point in ditching him in his last 3 or 4 years of life, just pulling the rug from under him? Because he used to love that kind of Television.
It was I couldn't watch it without. It's not worth not worth watching.
That's what I say. Now I've got some things to show you. No, not like that. So we were talking about Bob Monkhouse and people like this. This is Bob's Full House that came out in the late 80s. I guess it was Bingo. I did watch it. I forget what it was basically around. But yeah, it's a wonderful little game there. Bob Monkhouse, in his later years, I'd say, Bob hosted that. Right through into the 90s. And board games were the thing.
I can't believe this is actually shrink wrapped, James.
Well, I think it might have been resealed, but the silly sods did put a sticker on the bloody wrapping, which really annoys me. They don't think it through, do they? But it's in the shop. But bless them, there to go. And I don't know what the game entails, but it's probably bingo based. Why they didn't call it Bingo Based Bob or Bob's Bingo?
Bob's Big Bingo.
Yeah, but I love the way that they've got a ghetto blaster or boom box, football, teddy, and what looks like annuals there, and based on an exciting TV series. So there we go, 6 and over. Look at that. If that's not an 80s family, I'll just show it to this camera. If that is, you might see without the reflection. Look at that. Lots of bouffant there. Based on the popular TV series. Will you win or will you be wallied?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that as a catchphrase.
I'm not sure what that means. You couldn't say that now. You can't say that now.
You can't say anything now, James.
Wally. Who's a Wally?
You can't say anything about anybody or anything anymore. Right then, I think this might be our mystery sound.
No,
it might be, but then again, who knows? Who knows?
You don't.
No. It's a mystery sound of the 80s. It's the mystery sound of the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, again, there's about 14 things that could be, but I think I know what that is. But then I've said that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're picking some good ones this season. It's I'm thinking
AK-47 in America going into the school.
Well, with the defence cutbacks, it's definitely the latest machine gun. It might be an Action Man gun, but I don't think it is.
We'll have to wait and see. End of the episode, we'll do that.
Yep.
Got another clip coming up in a couple of seconds, or do you want the clip now?
Oh, let's have a clip.
Let's do the clip. Here we go.
We join the younger members of the royal family at Alton Towers in Staffordshire for the grand knockout tournament.
The guards coming out. Come on, everyone. Here come the guards. The red team on the Joker. So it's Cliff Richard attaching the rope to the cannon. Cliff Richard running back. And over the capstan, Kevin Klein, Jackie Stewart, and Emmeline Hughes for the Princess Royal.
See, they had Princess Anne. They had Prince Edward.
Yeah. Prince Andrew there, was he?
But it's difficult to say where he was.
I would imagine if it was Stuart Hall and Prince Andrew and Cliff Richard, they'd all be friends.
It's difficult to say
Is
who
it
was
legally?
friends
Oh.
with.
Oh,
Difficult to
bless
say
them.
who was friends with
What about
whom
Philip Schofield?
back
Was,
in
that was a
those
bit early.
days.
Bit early for Philip Schofield.
No sign of Jimmy Savile in there anywhere.
No. I think he was in the cannon. We're going to shoot him over the castle. I don't know. I think Jimmy Savile was probably busy running somewhere for charity, raising money.
I mean, obviously, it was that was the royal version. Which, do you remember the headlines in the newspaper the next day after that was shown on TV for the first time?
No.
And it was just like everybody said, "What is the royal family doing, taking part in It's a Knockout?"
Oh.
And it was like the hate from the press.
They should be doing serious things.
They should be. I don't know what they wanted, but this was like the young bit of the royal family, wasn't it?
Yes.
With Fergie and co.
Yeah.
Getting involved, but the
30s and under.
Yeah, but then Princess Anne was in there as well with her weird hair and.
Well, she would have been born in the 50s, early 50s, wouldn't she? So I guess she still would have been in her 30s. So I
Just
suppose
looking
she's still,
50 though, yeah.
Yeah, always with that
Weird hair.
weird thing. Like, yeah.
Somebody needed to have told her. Somebody
Are you going to tell her? I'm not.
Stop that.
Yes,
Off
yes.
with his head.
The horses at you.
But I mean, obviously, It's a Knockout was on, every week, and
Yeah.
it was just chaotic, wasn't it? It was just
Yes. Hilarious, though. You'd find yourself in fits of laughter, laughing along with Stuart Hall at all the kids. So it was all so funny. But looking back, you start to feel a bit sick. But it was just hilarity, at that. And there was also a kids sort of show called Kickstart, which is like them on cross bikes, motorbikes, and that was always quite fun to watch as a kid, watching them try and go through mud tracks on their motocross bikes and falling over. But this was probably the funniest thing on telly, really.
It was a bit like a mild version of those Japanese TV shows
Takashi Castle
where they,
stuff, yes.
are just literally beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, that's a little bit more, oh, God, I shouldn't be laughing at this.
Yeah.
But they were always in these massive, like, sumo suit padded things and falling over head first into something and bouncing off each other and getting covered in gunk and something. So, yeah, that was quite good. I think they should do it again. I think they should get the royals back in fancy dress.
We have Prince Andrew. What's Prince Andrew going to be doing there?
Prince Andrew could be in a gimp suit, and you could get Prince Edward could be in his military uniform after earning all those medals for those 7 weeks he was in the Marines.
Yes,
Remember that?
yes.
So he's got all those medals from those wars in the Marines.
We could have Prince Harry on the other side as well, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Playing the baddie as the Germans,
Yes,
doing
he could.
that as well.
No, you're allowed to do that now. You're allowed to do that now because it's your heart. It's a Roman.
It's a Roman, isn't it? Just doing a
global
Roman
leader does it now,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
we're
yeah.
allowed to do that.
What the fuck, please,
yeah.
James? Please, somebody tell me. What is going on?
I think you could have. Who else could we have in here? We could have Meghan. She could be the baddie as well, couldn't she?
Yes.
She could be something. Probably. I mean, they'll pick something, won't they? And obviously the Queen could be the Emperor because she's still alive. We all know that. So she's the one leading the way, and they could get part of the course could be Harry and Meghan have to go through a tunnel and see if they can make it out the other side and to get the bride. That could be the final thing, couldn't it?
James, you just come up with
I've just
TV
come up with
TV gold there,
This is copyright. Don't anybody go and copy this. This is our idea that Andy made up on the spot, and I was here to witness it. For legal reasons.
That would be compelling, though, wouldn't it? That would be compelling.
Come on, who's next through the tunnel?
Whose tunnel is this?
Oh no, we're not having that one. That's Prince Andrew again, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Not that one, Andrew.
I was up until a moment ago. I was hungry, but it's time. It's time for a lunchbox surprise.
Oh dear.
James's special lunchbox surprise.
Now, based on our theme, because you loved the Nice biscuits,
I was
thought,
pretty impressed with the Nice.
well, the old biscuits, I think we've got an opportunity here, and I really think that they should be tapping into this more. We should have more old biscuits that we remember sort of liking, disliking, loving. Bring them back and advertise them on the telly. So that's what I've done here. These I wasn't a massive fan of. My great-gran swore by them. And I thought, well, let's get them out and see if I hate them or like them, because I cannot remember. Do you remember, Gary?
I remember them, and I remember because we were always told, of course, what are the bits inside?
Yeah, raisins.
Yeah, but what are
Rabbit poo, actually.
Flies.
Oh, was it? I was told rabbit poo, but there was something. But it's a bit of fruit, and I think there was a shortcake circle that had raisins in.
See, I remember these being not snappy. This is going to be bendy, isn't it?
Yeah. They're bendy, soft, and you break them through. Yeah, that's it.
Like that.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly, my memory says I liked them, but looking at them, I don't think I'm going to like them.
Far too raisiny. Far too much fruit going on in there for my liking, James. Not enough biscuit.
I think there's more fruit in than there used to be, actually. But it is not as... My memory's not coming back like the same as the Nice biscuits. But
It's not bringing anything back for me at all, this.
did you ever eat them?
Everybody, Gran had them, as you say.
Yeah.
They were the ones that they were
I
the
wonder
ones.
why, though.
They were the ones that would make the rest of the tin of biscuits go soft.
Yeah.
Because these are a little bit moist.
You know what I think it is? Grapes, in all seriousness, looking back to the 1910s, 1920s when our grands were like coming into their adulthood, I reckon that grapes were considered to be quite the luxury.
Could
and
be.
raisins. So I reckon that having them in a biscuit was actually something quite fancy.
It's not doing it for me, James. I'm going to
You
be
haven't
honest.
finished it?
I'm going to. I've had the bit. Yeah.
You've had the whole bit.
I've had the whole bit.
Yeah, but
It's not bringing memories back. Whereas the Nice,
do you want a Nice
straight back. I'll just take the taste away, James, if you don't mind. Yeah.
No, they are too raisiny. You're right, actually.
There's too much raisin going on.
You know how we've... Sorry. excuse me.
Thank you.
You know how we said, somehow, like when they're bringing the old chocolate bars back, someone's gone and reverse engineered and done this from memory. And sometimes, like the sweets, it's clearly a millennial that's doing it because they don't remember what the original sweet tastes like, so they fucked it. I think that's the same with Garibaldi. They know it had raisins in, and then seen the mixture. There's too many raisins in there. You need half the raisins, in my opinion. I'm no expert, as you know, Andy, but Nice. Lovely.
These have absolutely nailed it. That is, in terms of what they used to be like and what they are like now.
Yeah.
Absolutely spot on.
Just
Absolutely
the right amount
spot
of
on.
sugar. Lovely.
But the Garibaldi, I'll
No. But again, early evening, watching game shows, pack of biscuits, glass of milk.
just get in there as well. Just be in there. I mean, maybe the Garibaldis would work as a dipper. I don't know.
Oh, no. I wouldn't have a raisin in a cup of tea. Would you? Oh, floating in there. Would be like flies then.
What was your beverage of choice? Like your bedtime beverage then after you've watched the cartoons? That because my granddad, we used to, my mum and dad used to live in the same house as my nan and granddad.
Okay.
And my granddad would make Horlicks
Yeah.
every single evening.
Horlicks and Ovaltine.
Horlicks and Ovaltine, yeah.
I was a glass of milk kind of guy. I wouldn't say I'd take a glass of milk to bed, but certainly a glass of milk in the morning to watch Saturday morning cartoons or after tea, an hour or two after tea, glass of milk and a couple of bickies. Yeah. And laugh my way through Price is Right or Player Cards Right or any of these. Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so we're downvoting the Garibaldi, still upvote, still fondly
Nice.
remembering the Nice.
Yeah.
Let's find out if you can work out what the mystery sound is for today then. Because you said it could be, anything.
Yeah.
Let's find out if it
I
actually
think it's
is
electronic
something.
typewriter.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let's have a look and see.
It's a mystery sound of the 80s. It's the mystery sound of the 80s.
Oh, hello.
Look at that, James.
Hello.
Look at that.
Like and subscribe.
How good is that?
Yeah.
How good. But
It's the future, that.
And that was the thing. Why you would need to, though, because these were those electric ones had a memory, didn't they? Where you could type in.
Yep.
And it could remember what. Why would you need to remember? Unless you're going to be typing the same letter over and over and over and
I
over
suppose.
again.
Saves you having a photocopy in the house, isn't it? But it's the same
How
with
long would that? How long would that take? And how pissed off would downstairs be with that going on?
It's
all
the same
time?
with the memory button on a calculator. I never quite worked out what the M plus, M minus, M meant. Because M plus meant you were putting it in, or does M plus mean you're recalling what you'd already put in? M minus mean take out the memory?
You are asking the person who got a U in their maths O level, James, what the button on the calculator for. They were the only ones that I needed were boobliss
and the numbers.
and boobies. And that
and the
was
numbers
it.
themselves, probably. And plus, minus, divide, and equals.
But no, never got a clue that.
But that was the first keys that came in on the calculator. I thought, oh, hello, what's this mean? And people were fluent in it. I had no bloody idea. Fluent in M plus, M minus. No idea.
It was something where like you could store a memory or something. But
I wish we could fucking do that now. I can't remember
We
who the bloody ballerina is out
We
of
need one there.
Oh, God, that's just flashed into my brain and went out again. Who was it? We don't know. Ted? No, Terry. Sandra.
Buffon, slightly Buffon hair.
Yeah. About 4'6". Yeah.
Dancer.
Yeah.
That guy.
I keep thinking of Leo Sayer.
But it's not Leo Sayer.
No, it's not him.
But anyway, as these episodes go by, our memories get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But that's the end of episode 5, 6, 7.
Okay, cool.
So,
end of game shows, and we've got another game show episode next
time. See you next Tuesday. Till then, goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition. We'd love it if you could subscribe in your favourite podcast app, and don't forget there's a video version on YouTube too. You can contact us using the links in the show notes and on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time for another edition of Bring Back the 80s.